Moving on. Moving on to a little news. Dateline. Dateline, Richmond, Indiana. All of the survivors of a fatal crash between a Greyhound bus and a stolen car have been released from Indiana hospitals. A representative of the Methodist Hospital in Indianapolis said that the bus driver, William Cole Sr. of St. Louis, was treated at the hospital Sunday, but, had been released. Reed Hospital in Richmond, Indiana also treated 18 bus passengers with non-life-threatening injuries. Hospital spokesman said Monday that 2 passengers were admitted and had been released. Sheriff Jeff Kappa said the crash Sunday morning on Interstate 70 near the Ohio border killed Philip Lloyd of Richmond. He was driving a stolen car traveling westbound in an eastbound lane. Bus was traveling from St. Louis to New York City with a stop in Dayton, Ohio. So it appears that everyone's out of the hospital. And the guy who caused the crash is dead. Still haven't heard anything on why he stole the car. Why? My guess is he was high on something. But nobody knows for sure. Dateline Washington. Good news. Bo Bergdahl, the U.S. Army sergeant who spent nearly 5 years as a Taliban captive in Afghanistan, was returned to regular Army duty Monday. But he will be made available to Army investigators for questioning about his disappearance. Yeah. They don't need to ask him another single solitary question, which is how I know this is a scam. All the investigation that was needed was done when he left. I guess I shouldn't say that. Everyone has a right to defend themselves. They already know. They know whether he's a deserter, and they know whether he's a traitor. They already know it. Now, I guess if they want to get his side of the story, guess that's okay. But they already know. There's no investigating that needs to be done. It was all done 5 years ago, which is how I know this is all a scam, and I seriously doubt that anything will ever come of this. They'll clear him. He'll get $350,000 in back pay, and he'll go about his business. So that's cool. Boy, that was worth trading them 5 terrorist generals. Now that was a crime. That was a high crime right there. I don't give a damn what anybody says. Oh, you're supposed to leave the Americans. We don't leave people behind. Well, we leave him behind in Mexico. The Marine that's still in a Mexican jail. We left him behind, but, we don't leave traitors behind. I'm just saying. Moving on. About all the news I can stomach. I wanted to play some clips for you, ladies and gentlemen. of John Voight, who was on the Huckabee Show this weekend. He's not necessarily a great orator. Not necessarily the most articulate guy, great speaker or orator. But I tell you what he is. He's a great American. And took a big risk. And it's not the first time. Taking that risk to his career in Hollywood to tell the truth about Barack Obama. Here's John Voight on Mike Huckabee. Cut one, go. I had to re-cue this, so we'll see where it takes off. I might bump it around. John Voight, cut one, go.
They already love you, John. You don't even have to butter them up.
Thanks, Governor, for having the confidence in me to let me address the American people at this crucial time in American history. There's so much to say, so please forgive me if I read from my notes. And you may feel as I go that you want to comment, every once in a while. Just jump in as if it was your show.
Okay. That's very generous of you. I appreciate it.
I'm here because of my heavy heart that a great man, Dinesh D'Souza, a patriotic man, more patriotic than anyone I can think of at this moment, present company accepted, is being aggressively, negatively targeted in many ways. And the latest targeting is the boycotting of the great, important book, America, Imagine the World Without Her. And his film is based on this book and should be seen by every patriotic American. It is in theaters now. 5 years ago, I stated that Obama would take the country apart, piece by piece, that he would cause a civil war in this country. In hindsight, we can see how many things have come to pass. My greatest heartache is that we sacrificed thousands of our American heroes liberating Iraq, only for President Obama to pull out all troops, leaving Iraq now to be taken over by the terrorists. What does he say about that? Nothing. Governor Romney warned us about Russia's aggressions. Now we have seen his concerns come to fruition. What does Obama say about that? Nothing. He has been warned numerous times by Prime Minister Netanyahu that our most dangerous enemy now is Iran, who will most definitely have the nuclear bomb. And it will not be for peaceful purposes. It will be to destroy Israel and America, as they have stated. And we certainly can believe these threats. Let us remember, let us not forget Benghazi. Let us not say, what difference does it make? Obama found a perfect way to put this under the rug, blaming Republicans, saying that they just want to find fault with his administration. And still, to this day, we don't know the truth. Let us not forget the unspeakable way our veterans have been ignored and many left to die in many of our veteran hospitals. Let us not forget the IRS scandal. Does he think that the American people are stupid? That they would believe that Lois Lerner is completely innocent and did not target all these conservative groups? And suddenly all the records are lost. Nothing to be found to show her guilt. And his newest and latest destruction, which you've just seen on the show, encouraging and allowing millions of poor illegal children from Central America who will be a great burden monetarily for our country, and they are already spreading tuberculosis, scabies, and chickenpox and putting our own children at risk of catching these diseases. And this very serious influx
school starts.
Has been brought about not to benefit the young immigrant children, but in order to benefit the Democrats in the 2016 election.
You know, John, when you talk about that's benefiting the Democratic Party. It's a very different party than it was than when you and I were young men.
You bet.
And when we come back, I want us to pick up there. I want to talk about what has happened to the differences of not just the parties, but to the real breakdown of this country, and continue as you share this eloquent message.
See, and he's really not telling us anything we don't already know. Like I said, he's not a great orator, but he is a great American. He's really not telling us anything we didn't already know. But what he is doing is going on the record, so to speak. I think he really wants America to know where he stands. I'm not sure. I've quite figured out why he did this. I really think he was doing it. He did it. You know, to go on the record himself. So, anyhow, they did come back. Let's carry on with that. He continues. With some of the stuff that's bothering him.
John, I listened to your message, and I'm drawn into the fact that you are courageously sharing your heart with the American people, but also it's a word of warning. And we were talking about how the Democratic Party has really changed. It used to be that the parties weren't that different. They had a little different view of life in the world, but things have changed, haven't they?
Yeah, very, very strongly.
And stop. Which is what I was talking about earlier. Excuse me. I was talking about earlier that there's a cultural divide in this country now where the gap is as big as the Grand Canyon. You know, we have these people running around talking about, you know, reconciliation. Never before, there's only one time in our history as a nation where I've seen this big of a gap in what Americans believe. And quite frankly, that was during the Civil War. Yeah, the reasons are different. It's not exactly the same, don't get me wrong, but the gap between what half of America believes and the other half of America believes has never been wider, including the Civil War. Now, the motivations and the reasons for that gap might be different, but it's a gap nonetheless. And that's what Mike just, referred to. I've referred to it, but, this isn't your mother and grandmother's Democratic Party, although old dad I talked to at the Ford dealership today, he still thinks this is the Democrat Party of JFK. JFK would be run out of the Democrat Party today. Not only that, he'd probably be run out of the Republican Party. JFK would be considered a Tea Partier today. And that's what Huckabee was referring to. Cut to continue.
The Democrat Party has become a very negative force. I'm going to go to this now.
That's being too kind.
It's more socialistic in their thinking, and they've given young women the wrong ideas about what democracy really is. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is the gang leader for all the wrong information to our young women, convincing them that Republicans are stopping their liberties and freedoms of reproduction, when the truth is as the Supreme Court upheld,